students, in the previous class we have studied the different types of quadrilaterals. In that particularly we have seen the parallelogram and the problems on the parallelogram. So today we shall discuss about some special types of parallelograms. Some special types of parallelograms. Students, let us recall the properties of the parallelogram. So those properties will be very important for referring these some special types of parallelograms. So we know that in a parallelogram the opposite sides are equal and parallel. Opposite sides are equal and parallel. So, and the opposite angles are equal. And the next property is sum of the adjacent angles are supplementary, or it must be equal to 180 degree. And the diagonals bisect each other. Now students, we will see the first type of special parallelogram, that is a rhombus. That is a rhombus, which looks like a kite. So students, now we shall see the properties and definition. So, and the difference between the parallelogram and a special type of parallelogram, that is the rhombus. So this rhombus is a special type of parallelogram. Therefore, it has a property, all the properties of parallelogram. It have a property of all the types of properties of parallelogram. So the difference is, in a parallelogram the opposite sides are equal. In a parallelogram the opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are equal and parallel. So here, if in a parallelogram all the sides are equal, in a parallelogram, so if all the sides are equal in their length, then it is called as a rhombus. It is called as a rhombus. Rhombus is a special type of parallelogram in which all the sides are equal. So it is also a quadrilateral with sides of equal length. So now the properties, we will see the properties. The first property, it has all the properties of a parallelogram. It has all the properties of a parallelogram. So you should recall the properties of the parallelogram. So first property of the parallelogram is the opposite sides are equal. The only opposite sides are equal and parallel. Here all the sides are equal. Here in a rhombus all the sides are equal, whereas in case of parallelogram the opposite sides are equal. So here opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are parallel. The parallelogram, we have the same property, the opposite sides are parallel. So second property of the rhombus is the opposite angles are equal. The opposite angles are equal. So we have seen the same property, that angle property, that is in a parallelogram the opposite angles are equal. So and the third property is, here the diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other perpendicularly. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other perpendicularly. So they will bisect perpendicularly. Students, we will understand the properties by taking an example of the figure of rhombus. Now students, observe the figure clearly. So here it is a ABCD is a, first of all it is a quadrilateral, and it is a special form of the parallelogram. Therefore, so here one difference is that all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. So observe clearly, the length of AB is equal to length of BC. The length of, say, it will be equal to CD. Similarly, it will be equal to DA. Therefore, all the sides are equal. But so the opposite sides are parallel. But the opposite sides are parallel. So AB is parallel to CD. AB is parallel to CD. So similarly, AD is parallel to BC. So opposite sides are equal. Sorry, all the sides are equal, but opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are parallel. All the sides are equal in a rhombus. So and also, if we come into the angle property, so as in the parallelogram, opposite angles are equal. Angle A equals angle C. Angle A equals angle C. Similarly, the measurement of angle B is equal to angle D. The measurement of angle B is equal to measurement of angle D. So now, lastly, so if you observe the diagonals, so diagonals means so it is a line segment. You are already familiar the definition of the diagonal. So diagonal means it is a line segment which joins the opposite vertices of a quadrilateral. So if you join D and B, if you join D and B, so is one diagonal, and A and C. So A and C is also another diagonal. So if you observe these two diagonals, they intersect at a point O. So here they make a right angle. That means, so they will form an angle of measurement 90 degree. Therefore, these diagonals bisect each other perpendicularly. They bisect each other perpendicularly. That means making an angle 90 degree on either sides. Making an angle 90 degree on either sides. So students, you are already seen in the previous models which I have already show you. So this type of rhombus you will see once again. Students, so observe here. So this is the shape of the rhombus. So it is a parallelogram. It is also a parallelogram. Observe clearly. This is a parallelogram. So if you observe here, all the four sides are equal. All the four sides are equal, and the opposite sides are parallel. These two sides are parallel. These two sides are parallel. Opposite sides are parallel. So similarly, students, if you come to the property of angles, the opposite angles are equal. The opposite angles are equal. So this angle will be equal to this angle. The measurement of this angle will be equal to the measurement of this angle. So but the sum of the adjacent angles, so they must be so supplementary, that means 180 degree. So this is about the rhombus and its property. Now students, we will see the problem on the rhombus. So the problem is rise is a rhombus. Find x, y, z to justify your factors. So in the figure, I have given rise or ICE. Rise is a rhombus. So in this figure, we have to find out the value of x, y, and z. We have to find out the value of x, y, and z. We have to give the reason for the finding the value of x, y, z. So by we are here in simplifying the problems, we are going to use the properties of rhombus. Students, now to observe the figure. In figure, x equals, in figure, RICE, rise, is a rhombus. Is a rhombus. Is a rhombus. So x equals OE or EO. So this is what we have to find out. The value of EO. So here we have to find out x. So observe students. So here in the figure they have given the length OI or IO. The length of IO is 5 units. Length of IO is 5 units. So therefore, we can easily write the length of OE or EO is also equal to 5 units. So similarly, the length of OC is 12 units. The length of OC is 12 units. So we will write the length of OR as 12 units. So students, why OE is equal to 5 units and OR is 12 units? So come on, tell me the reason for that, or which property we are going to use here? Yes, we are going to use the diagonal property. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other perpendicularly. That means both the length at the point of intersection y is equal to OE. So similarly, the length OC is equal to OR. So therefore, x equals EO, which will be equal to OI equals 5 units. So the length of EO is equal to OI. So therefore, the value of x is 5 units. X is 5 units. Similarly, CO. So now y means the length of RO or OR. RO equals OC. OC equals 12 units. So RO equals OC 12 units. So because the reason is diagonals of a rhombus. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other perpendicularly. So we are going to use that property. So another one is that we have to find out the value of z. value of z. Here it is z. So z, that means it represents the length of side Ri. It represents the length of side Ri. So Ri means, so in by the property or by the definition of the rhombus, so in a rhombus all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. Therefore, so they have given ER is 13 units. Therefore, the length of Ri or Z is also equal to 30 units. So now Z equals Ri. Ri equals IC, which will be equal to CE, which will be equal to ER, equal to 13 units. So 13 units. The reason is the side, all the sides are equal. All sides of rhombus are equal. Therefore, students will write the values of x or y and z. So x is 5 units, y is 12 units, and the top z is 30 units. 30 units. This is how we are calculated the values of x, y, z by using the properties of the rhombus. Okay. Now, students, we will see the another special type of parallelogram, that is rectangle. That is rectangle. Students, you are already familiar with this type of quadrilateral. That means the rectangle. So, if you observe this board, so if you observe this board, it is of the form rectangular shape. It is a rectangular shape. If you observe this board, so the opposite sides, these opposite sides are equal. The length of these two sides are equal and they are parallel. Similarly, so these two sides are equal and parallel. Similarly, if you observe this surface of the duster, so observe this. So this is also a rectangular shape. So here the opposite sides are equal and parallel. Similarly, these two sides are equal. Okay, students. So therefore, we can say that a rectangle is a parallelogram. So in which the opposite sides are equal, but if you observe, so if you observe the shape here, the angle formed is 90. So here also the angle formed is 90. So if you observe all the four angles here, or you can observe in the black board, in the board. So all the angles are equal to 90 degree. All the angles are equal to 90 degree. So therefore, rectangle has the same property. So that means the opposite sides are equal. The opposite sides are equal and parallel. The difference, only difference is the angles. The angles, all the angles are equal. So they they are equal to, each angle will be equal to 90 degree. Okay students, so that means a rectangle is a parallelogram with equal angles. So here, so it is a parallelogram, so therefore it has opposite sides are equal and parallel. But the angles are equal, that means they are 90 degree, they are equal to 90 degree. And the angles are each angle equal to 90 degree. Okay students, so now we will see the properties of the rectangle. Properties of the rectangle. So come on, tell me the first property. The opposite sides are equal. Opposite sides are equal, and also they are parallel. Equal and parallel. That means, so the side AB is equal to side BC. So side AD is equal to side BC. Side AB is equal to side BCD, or BC. Side AD is equal to side BC. So second property, so that is the angle property. So if you observe, all the angles are equal. All the angles are equal. So equal means it will be equal to 90 degree. So each equal, each angle each angle equal to 90 degree. So if you add all the four angles of the rectangle, because it is a quadrilateral, so 90 degree plus 90 degree plus 90 degree plus 90 degree will be equal to 360. The sum of all the interior angles of a rectangle is 360 degree. So now students, we will see the other property, that is a diagonals property. So diagonal means, say yes. So you are already perfect in the definition of the diagonal. Diagonal means it is a line segment which joins the opposite vertices. It is a line segment which joins the opposite vertices. So if you observe, I have joined the vertices A and C. A and C. So therefore AC is a diagonal. So similarly, if you join B and B, vertices B and B, so B and B, BD is called as a diagonal. So if you observe here, so as in the parallelogram, so here in the rectangle, diagonals bisect each other. Diagonal bisect each other. But the difference is, so in a parallelogram, the diagonals are unequal, whereas in case of, if you measure the length of the diagonals of the rectangle, they are equal. So AC is equal to third property is the diagonals are equal length, and they bisect each other. Each other. Bisect each other. So this is about the properties of the rectangle. Okay, students. So I think you have understand the properties of rectangle, and so you know how the rectangle is a special case of parallelogram. Okay, we will see problems on this rectangle.